Hi guys, this is Mrs. Rutan. Today I wanted to talk about the new online test format and the question that's been popping up from students, which is how do I annotate digitally? I'm going to show you a tool that I'm using to practice that because it does require a little bit of practice. The program is called Kami. It is Kami. If you go to that website, you can log in with your Google account as a student. And then you can upload the documents that you want to annotate, and I will also play around with this and assign it via as a teacher. But real quickly, I don't know if this will be the program that the AP College Board will use. I'm not really sure. I don't have that answer for you yet. But at least you can try to play with this one because I think it's got a couple techniques that are helpful. So this is the passage that you guys are doing today on April 14th. It is called Fasting and Feasting. Over here is the navigation for how you can annotate. And I found there was two things that I used most that were most helpful for annotating. The first was text box or commenting, and then the second was marking up or highlighting. And you'll see there's a couple different things I tried. So what I did is I read through the prompt. I used the highlighter to highlight things that I thought were important. And then I chunked, and I chunk at least 3 times when I do digital annotating. I feel like if I try to annotate more than that, it becomes tedious. But if I don't annotate enough, then I may not comprehend the passage. So I read the excerpt, the directions, and then what happened is after I read it, I just annotated what I think the prompt is asking me to do. I think the prompt is focusing on an exchange student and his new experience, and it's asking me to analyze how does he react to that experience. So now that I know some of the important stuff from the little intro paragraph, I scrolled down and I started to read. And what I did was I used the markup, and I tried not to over highlight because I think that it would be very easy to do that digitally. So what happened was I just picked out stuff like lots of sauce quotes, and I tried using the regular drawing tool, but I thought it was too messy. So then I went back to, I highlighted some parts in the text that I thought were interesting, or parts of the text that I thought showed conflict, or they were more intense, or just made me say, what's going on? And I underlined or highlighted those. I especially highlighted things that I thought could be great evidence points, like despondent, which means really sad or upset. I thought Mrs. Patton is a very interesting character in contrast to Arun. And then I did some more highlighting because I liked galvanizing. I liked this question, this sentence. It was an awkward problem. I liked the word confident because I feel like Arun is not confident. And then what happened? Right now I know this has got a whole bunch of text. I annotated at the end of this first column. I chunked it. I was trying to chunk. There's not a lot of room to chunk in the margins. So what I did is I just chunked at the end. So I chunked my initial craft observations. I felt like there was a lot of juxtaposition of characters and word choices. And then I just kind of sum up what I was noticing. And I think Arun is isolated. I think he lacks confidence. He doesn't want to experience this new trip to the beach. But I think that was ironic because he's an exchange student. And my understanding of exchange students is they are curious by nature, or they want to know more about their new setting. And then I also annotated a little bit about Mrs. Patton because of that juxtaposition. And I think she seems like she's a good, happy mentor, and she's kind of pushing him with the word choice of confident and the way she talks to him. So this is just me annotating for comprehension and for ideas after the first column or first chunk. And then I went on and I read some more. I read and did the same thing. I highlighted stuff that I thought was important or easy to use in my essay. And then I did a very short annotation because it was just really, really like prominent in my head. And I feel like he is projecting on his environment. He gets really negative here. And then once again, I finished the passage and I did another reaction annotation or chunk at the end of the second column. And I wrote down all these little thoughts. And this is a little bit longer than this because I'm responding to the whole passage as well as to the second chunk. So I don't think he's open to the experience, which answers the prompt, which is how does he react? Oopsies. And if you look right here, that was what I understood the prompt. I said he doesn't like it. And then I started integrating chunks or evidence from the passage to kind of just help me get my brainstorm on the page. And then I just talked more about him. I analyzed him. As a new person, he doesn't seem to embrace things. He seems pretty negative. I think he doesn't want to share in this experience. And I looked at where the cutoff is. Remember, we talked about prose passages have a cutoff. So where is the cutoff? So I asked myself, where is the cutoff? And the cutoff seems to beg the question, is he really going to learn anything? And I don't think so, because it ends pretty negative. So I've annotated and highlighted when I read, and then I tried to do what we have been doing with pen to paper, and I decided to start talking about what would I talk paragraph 1, what would I talk paragraph 2. I could even have shortened this and just put P1, P2, so I'm not typing a lot, but I do type faster than I write. And I kind of decided what are the craft shout-outs that I wanted to talk about, as well as what are my conclusions, which is what that equal sign is. So I'm going to argue he does not welcome or enjoy this experience in paragraph 1, and then I'm going to argue that it's kind of funny that he doesn't want to do this even though he is an exchange student. And then I also wanted to talk about the title, because I think he's a character who's, instead of feasting on the experience, he's fasting from the experience of being in a new place. So I wanted to play up that as well. The last thing that kind of changed for me in this was the ability to write a thesis statement. And I don't know if it's because I just didn't leave myself enough room. I personally foresee myself handwriting this and writing out a thesis up at the top and then creating my intro paragraph, but you might do it differently. Just because I don't want to toggle back and forth between a couple different things. Like, I don't want to type and toggle, but you might be more comfortable doing that. And so my thesis is not a pretty thesis. It's actually just kind of a rough idea thesis where I'm going to argue that he lacks embracing the new experience and surroundings, and because of that, I question his ability to learn or grow. And so that's what I'm going to argue that this passage does, or what it helps illustrate. I'm going to make this look nice when I actually start writing my paper. So hopefully that helps you out. As you notice, there's a lot of annotation tools, but I just kept it simple. I kept it comment, highlight, or underline, highlight. And there's an underline tool, but I found the highlight was easier to use for some reason on this system. And I chunked. So I did read, chunk, and then I did some brainstorming. I didn't do as much brainstorming here, but I did try just to get my thinking, and then I would either start typing or handwriting. So hopefully that helps you with the big question, how to annotate digitally.